I'm sorry. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land.
God, just end it. How pretentious do you intend on being?
To the people of Syria and Iraq and France and Germany and Mexico and Canada and the world, permit me to apologize on behalf of the citizens of the United States of America.
That's because you're an adolescent fool, Keith. And let me say that I don't apologize to any of you because you don't matter, and I don't want any part of your globalist agenda.
For the unforgivable actions of the man who has assumed power here.
Yep, democratically elected by an electoral majority who's doing what he said he was pretty much going to do.
I speak for those of us who, unlike Trump, unlike the sycophants who surround him, unlike the hate-filled souls and the conscience-optional bigots who applaud him.
Why don't you try speaking before you gargle? Oh no, he called me a bigot. You hear that? He called us hate-filled. Oh no. This is the left's strategy to double down on their identity politics. It seems that's where they're going to go. You see, you can't disagree with them. You're just not allowed to. If you disagree, if you, God forbid, you say that you like the band or that you agree with the band, you're hate-filled, you're a racist. You know, why can't you just say, I don't like the band? Why can't you just say that? You know, I don't really agree with the band. I don't think it's good for the country. Why is it that you feel like you need to use these little buzzwords, and anyone who disagrees with you and likes the band or is in favor of the band, they're filled with hate, and they're little trolls who have hate in their hearts, and they're racist and bigoted? It didn't work. It's not going to work. I'm trying to help you guys out here.
Unlike the Russian puppeteers who may be manipulating him, I speak for those of us who have not forgotten and will not forget that we are the descendants of the immigrants, often the refugees. We are the modern equivalents of those whom this pig Trump.
All right, he's attributing a property to something that can't possibly have that property. I was born in the U.S. I didn't immigrate here. I'm not a modern equivalent to an immigrant because I never immigrated. That's a categorical fallacy, I believe, so pretty sloppy logic there, Keith.
Has just banished and degraded and in many cases, likely, literally, sentenced to death.
Yeah, kind of like the Christians and other minority religions that are being routinely beheaded and slaughtered in these Muslim countries. Why don't you bring that up? Why don't you bring up the absolute genocide and mass murder of southern Sudanese citizens in Darfur by their Muslim government? Do you want to mention that ISIS is prevalent in virtually every banned country? Iraq and Syria being their birthplace, and of course Libya being their stronghold? Are you going to mention any mention of Yemen being completely torn apart by an Islamic civil war? I mean, do we want that here? Do we want to import any of that? Are you going to mention that? Are you going to mention that Yemen is currently harboring Al-Qaeda militants? No? You're not going to mention that. This is just about migrants that need help. There's no other element here. There's no other counterbalance to this. You're not going to bring that up. You're just not going to educate your sheep, will you?
Our greatness, and more importantly, our goodness, has, since the cliche of the arrival at Plymouth Rock,
You have no greatness.
stemmed entirely from people who came here from elsewhere. The only true natives of this continent have been the victims of persecution and marginalization and genocide.
And yes, this kind of activity is still happening in many places, like Iraq, Iran, Syria, Somalia, Sudan, Libya, and Yemen, or the 7 countries on the travel ban, and it's being carried out by radical Islamic terrorists and hostile governments that are not compatible with Western civilization. Oops, you forgot to say that.
If this gargoyle Trump really believed in America first, he would lead the deportation of those who brutally stole these lands from their rightful inhabitants.
Someone correct me in the comments section, but isn't that a non sequitur? The conclusion to that premise has no logical following. I mean, is he suggesting Trump deport U.S. citizens? Is he saying Trump should deport the colonizers of the U.S. since they were the ones that carried out the persecution? Does Trump have a time machine? Does Keith?
They gained a sanctuary, and we gained their courage and their dedication and their hard work and their belief that if life would not be better for them, it would be better for their children. In us, in this place, they saw the light of the world, and because of them, we became that light. And now Trump has extinguished it. He has extinguished the light of the world.
No, he just put a temporary travel ban on hostile and violent countries that hate us.
Not because it was necessary, not because it was protective, because it will almost certainly indeed prove the opposite, but because many of those who support him cried out for scapegoats and for people to hate.
Yes, I hate. I hate evil. I hate sin. I hate terrorists. I hate radical Islam. And I hate apologists for it.
Because they believe a different religion, and for people to blame because they looked different. And in their hate, he, without conscience, soul, morality, he, capable of proudly mocking the tears of those stricken by the human cost of his cruelty over the weekend.
There, sweetie.
Saw only how to gain more power. He has extinguished the light of the world, not because he wanted to prevent terrorism nor reduce the flow of would-be terrorists, but because the political currency of 21st century America is making the gullible afraid, of convincing them that a foreigner lurks around every corner when the greatest risk of death to Americans is other Americans who have guns, period. The 7 countries to whose residence visas will not be issued are Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. From data researched by the libertarian think tank, the Cato Institute, the number of Americans killed in terrorism on American soil by people from those countries from 1975 through 2016 was none.
Alright, well, this is a red herring. See, he's pretending like he and you, I guess, can't discriminate between preventing people from immigrating from another country and preventing people that possess a dangerous and barbaric ideology from immigrating, which the two are not the same. It's radical Islam that we're trying to prevent. It doesn't matter where it comes from. If I know it's there and extremely prevalent, then I don't want it coming here and I want to figure out better ways of securing the immigration process. God, isn't this the same line in Jaws used before the sharks started killing people?
That doesn't mean we have to serve them up a smorgasbord.
We never had that kind of trouble in these waters.
The countries of the Middle East against which Trump did not act include the home nations of all the 9/11 hijackers and the San Bernardino attackers, Pakistan, and the United States.
What's your point? You don't want the ban anyway, so this just makes you look like a whiny little spoiled man-child. Wait. Never mind.
And this Trump also betrayed every other immigrant and every other refugee and every other man or woman the world over who looked to us then or who have looked to us now and who believed we were who we said we were. I'm sorry. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame with conquering limbs astride from land to land.
God, just end it. How pretentious do you intend on being?
Donald Trump has branded himself a traitor to everything this country has ever stood for. We have already acted against him in the streets and in the courts.
And you fail each time because your elitist, liberal, bleeding heart is blinding you to your own irrelevancy.
We will remove him.
I will find him!
We will welcome you again. We will even again let you think that you are getting more from us, even though history proves in generation after generation, with nationality after nationality, that it is us who are getting everything from you. And until that day, we, the citizens of the United States, beg your forgiveness.
Man, what a perfect way to sum this up. You're a beggar. You're just a beggar. That's all you are at this point. That's all you are. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like, and consider subscribing.